ask, interrupt me. The coaches, if you have anything to add, if I forgot anything, please interrupt me and add. So here our module, which is called Agile Development, we have 2 weeks. As you can see, the module for 2 weeks. I'm gonna click on it. And of course, here, if you go to the lesson plan, it's the same idea here. So some information about Agile developments as a learning objective, which you need to include it in your check-in issue. After that, if you go down here, you have some tips as usual, how to clone this repo if you need it. And we have some code quality check, which you already know, npm run format check, spell check, lint ls, lint ms, and you have also lint css to check your CSS if it's correct or not, and validate HTML to validate your HTML. So it's 2 more script here. Let's start here with Agile development. So I'm asking a question here, what is Agile? And I don't know if you heard about Agile before or not. I will ask you, Ini, what do you think Agile is?
Methodology.
It's a methodology?
Yeah, it's working working more for example, to build something.
To build the software, you mean?
Yeah, to
Yeah.
build a software. For example, if we are looking at the client asking for like building a car, we will start for making from small things and going to the second step and to make sure that everything is working in the beginning. Yeah.
Good.
More like a continuous
Kevin, what do you think Agile is?
Faster or smoother and more efficient way to.
You can mute yourself, don't, it's okay. Yeah, what do you think Agile is?
So it comes to my mind like faster, smoother, and more efficient way to build and deploy a software to avoid mistakes.
Good idea. Yuri, what do you think Agile is? That's not an answer. What do you think Agile is?
I think it's a tools for
Guess, take a guess.
help. Create code.
Okay. Stephen, what do you think Agile is? But you have to speak up because I cannot hear you.
Okay, yeah. It's more like a mindset.
It's a mindset, indeed.
How to manage some things, how to organize process of development.
Good. So Agile simply, it's a method or methodology to develop a software. Also, it's a mindset. What do I mean by that? Well, to explain Agile, I'll just compare it with another way or method to develop a software. In the past, we have a method called waterfall, and currently we have something called Agile. So what is a waterfall? What is Agile? I will explain the difference between them, and after that, you tell me which one is better. So in the waterfall method, before to develop a software could be a website, it could be an application, it doesn't matter. So in order to build an application, I need to know what are the requirements to build a project. Let's say I'm building a website about medicine. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a pharmacist, I don't know about medicine. So I'm gonna meet the doctors, the people ask me to build this website, and I will ask him, okay, what do you want on the website? How do you want the website to look like? What different pages do you want? So I need to understand what's the requirement. Because simply I'm not a doctor, I don't know about medicine, I don't know how they want the website. It's not for me, it's for them. So I need first to know all the requirements here related to my project. That's first. Second, after that, I'm coming to design the whole project. And design, as you know, I'm gonna design different pages, define everything in detail. And of course, after that, I'm gonna show them to the client, whatever the people ask me to build the website. And if they're happy with it or not, if not, they will just give me some note. After that, I'm gonna develop. Develop means I will start coding the whole project. All the project, I'm gonna start coding it. When I'm done with the developing the project, my code, I need to test my code. Testing the code, I need to make sure that the code is working or not. So I need to test it. After that, I need to deploy it. Deploy simply means make it alive online. So we have some hosts allow us to deploy our website. That's mean to make it alive, available for everyone. And after that, maintain it. That's mean in case there is any problem happened with the website, that's what you call the bug. We need to try to fix this bug. So that simply is the waterfall method. So the waterfall method, I need to know what's the requirement. I'm gonna design the whole project. I'm gonna code the whole project. After that, I need to test it. I'm gonna deploy it, and I will keep maintaining the website in case something happened. Is the idea clear? So that's the old way, which is called waterfall. The new way, which is agile. In agile, I'm not gonna do this way. In agile, first, I need to know what the requirement is. That's okay, but I can divide my project into smaller part. So I'm not gonna know. Maybe I can, in the beginning, I can take a general idea about the requirement, but after that, I'm gonna start with smaller part of the website. I'm not gonna build everything. I need to know what's the requirement for my, let's say, for my part here, the small part I'm trying to build. Then after that, I'm gonna design this part. I'm gonna design it. I'm gonna develop it. I'm gonna code it. I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna deploy it. I'm gonna review it. If everything is okay, I'm gonna move to the second part, and so on and so on and so on until I build the whole application. And now my question for you, which method do you think it's better and why?
Yeah.
Any, but you need to speak up.
I think agile is better
Mhm.
because at least it's working directly. While waterfall, we have to waiting for the process and the customer will not see the result
Mhm.
directly. So agile is very good. For me, I
So the result, yes, that's one point. What is other point? What do you think, Paulina?
It's a continuous process and then,
Mm.
the continuous results and like if something is like not going, we are not waiting for 3 months to know if it is working out or not.
Yeah, it's the value or the result, the same
Yeah.
point. What do you think? What's the difference between the two?
agile, we make small projects.
Yes.
We don't lost a lot of time.
Yes.
Looking for the products.
Yeah, but
or
it's
any-
not just about the time. There's something else here.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it?
Finding bugs in the early stage.
Exactly. But because here I'm building everything, that means if I have a bug, my whole website is not being working. But in Agile, there is a different way. I'm just building on smaller parts. That means if I have a bug, I know where is my bug is and I will try to solve it. If I build 5 different parts, the bug will not affect this part. It will only affect the part I'm working on. So it will be easier for me to find a bug and debug it and try to solve it. Yes, Kevin.
I also think that it depends on the magnitude and the complexity of the project that you're gonna work on, that it will decide which methodology is best for you.
Yeah, it is indeed. Else, yes.
Yeah, I think it's also, it's agile is really good because the clients, it's human being that always change.
True. Indeed.
I think waterfall, you can only see the
The whole
website,
picture.
The whole picture
Mhm.
directly, and in the end, sometimes the client will say, no, I
Mhm.
don't really
Yes.
think that's what I want. But with the agile, we can show to the clients directly. Every time the step is like that, they will say, okay, go ahead. And if there is change, we can always change.
So it's more flexible for the
Yeah.
client and for developer. Else, another point. Alan?
Yeah, quite it was like you said, at every point, the client is also able to follow the project. So if anything needs to be done, it can be done later than wait after the whole.
Okay, good. What else? Any other point? Anything to add?
I think so. It's depending for the project. For example, in construction, it's impossible to work in the roof without the foundation.
Mhm.
But here in the software development, you can make different tasks at the same time. Yes, this is the difference.
Yeah.
I think we can also make like, with the small things, we can build on, and then we can launch the.
That's good.
complete application.
Now, in math, you've studied in math, I think in high school or even before. If I have a complex problem, how can I solve this complex problem? Let's say I have a problem. It's a complex. How can I solve it? I need to divide it into smaller part. And if it's smaller parts, that means I have a smaller issue. The smaller issues are easy to solve. And if I solve all these smaller parts, this smaller issue, that means I solve the complex problem. That's one. Now, waterfall is good only for one case and one case only, which is if The project, I built the similar project many times. If I know everything inside it already, but that's not the case most of the time. Most of the time, I don't know what will happen. Because when I develop something, when I code something, I don't know what will happen. Maybe it will work. You saw that during the planning. If I'm planning to do something, even in life, I'm planning to do something, not always my plan will be 100% correct because we don't know what will happen. I'm coding something and it didn't work with me. So I need to change my plan. So Agile is more flexible. It's better because I'm working on a smaller issue. It's also flexible because if my plan does not work, I can change my plan. Okay? It's better for the client because, as you say, when I'm working on smaller parts, the client can give me feedback, and if any change necessary needed, I can change it during this smaller part. Is the idea clear? Is the idea clear? Anything to add? Melina, Carol, Jalal, John is not here. Anything to add? Okay.
I have a question.
Hmm?
Is it still used, waterfall these days?
Is it?
They still using this methodology?
Waterfall? Waterfall, I told you some old company using it, but as I told you, this methodology, we use it if you know everything already about the project. That means you've done a similar project multiple times. You already know the end result. But not many, most of the company now use the agile methodology or the agile mindset. By the way, agile does not work with all teams, huh?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's a perfect, it's just a way, it's a method, it's mindset. It works with some teams, or actually it has very good result, but with some teams it does not work. And some guy asks the creator of Agile, why, if Agile is perfect, why it does not work with some teams? And the guy said, it's just a method. It depends only on the team. So it's not only just a method, also it's mentality, it's mindset. All members of the team need to understand the Agile way. That's why I'm saying it's not just a method, it's also a mindset. Is it clear? So that's fine. So as you can see in Agile, it's iterative approach. Iterative, that means I'm going to do it again and again and again because I'm dividing my project into smaller parts. I'm working on smaller issue. It will be easier for me to code. It will be easier to debug. It will be better. And like that, everything will be organized. It will be easier to deliver value to the customer. That means if I'm working on smaller part, I will be able to show the customer something. And in case there is any feedback, I can take his feedback or their feedback into account and I can fix it at a time. Is the idea clear? So we have something now called sprint. And my question for you, Smita, what do you think a sprint is? Don't tell me I don't know. Take a guess.
It's a time period like 1 week of,
Again, just speak up.
it's a time period
Very good.
in which we have to complete the task.
Very good. So the sprint is a time. It's a duration. Normally, it's 2 weeks in most companies. Sometimes in some companies, it's 1 week. During this 2 weeks, the team need to meet. And after that, decide, okay, we have this different, let's say, different part of the project. We need to build it. They will assign this part to each developer. After that, they will discuss about the project. And also in the sprint, during the sprint, we have a daily stand-up. That means all team need to meet every day, or just for 15 minutes. That's what's called a daily stand-up, which is what the question is like that. So when the team meet for the daily stand-up, which is very short, they say, what did I do yesterday? What I'm going to do now, today. And if he's blocked with anything, I'm blocked with that. Because in Agile, it's not about just one developer is working fine and the other is not working. Either you're going to success as a team or you're going to fail as a team. You got my point? So all that during the meeting every day, if you will ask, oh, I did that yesterday, I'm blocked with that, so other developer, his colleague can help him, and I'm going to do that tomorrow or today. Today, and after that same day. So tomorrow we have another meeting and so on and so on and so on. So that's what we call daily stand-up. The sprint normally it's 2 weeks. It's just a duration of time. During this sprint here, you are trying to build, let's say, a future, build specific future, and at the end you will have a meeting and you'll see if you are finished or not. In case you are not finished, maybe you can take more time to finish this future. Is the idea clear? Okay, good. Now for this module here, of course, each group will be working with the code just to help you a little bit, give you some information. What do you need to do? It's 2 weeks project, so we're gonna do all about trees for this week. And for next week, we will try to rebuild Hack Your Future website. What are the different steps? Well, first step here, you need to use a template. You already given a template. You need to use this template to create a new repo on your class organization. What you're gonna name this repo? You're gonna name this repo, what do we name the repo last time? Yeah, but we normally say it will be group 1, no dashes between group and 1 or 2 or 3, just group 1 dash all dash about trees. That will be the name of the repo. Please don't make mistake. All of them lowercase. So group lowercase 1 or 2, no dashes, and dash all about all dash about dash trees, all lowercase.
Dashing between each and every person.
Yes, so group 1 or 2, no dashes, and after that dashes between each word. So you need to create a repo, you need to add a collaborator and give them right access. You already know that. You need to turn on discussions. You need to turn on GitHub pages, and you need to protect your main branch. So that should be simple. We did it last week. After that, you need to define something called a project definition. What is a project definition? So a project definition, you need to decide in the team what will be the project about. For example, I'm building now, let me take this example, which is all about trees. All team members need to understand what's the project about. You may tell me the project about trees. Yes, but trees is very, very wide subject. I can, for example, create a website scientifically about trees. I can create a website about planting trees. So there's a lot of subject. I need to be specific about the scope or the definition of my project. For example, in this project, I will just say simple website about trees and some scientific fact about them. Now I'm saying my project here, it's about trees, but I'm here in my website, I'm mentioning just some scientific fact about trees. It's not about planting trees. It's not about asking people to come to plant trees. No, it's just about trees and some scientific information about them. So you need to define the scope of the project or the project definition. Now, the project definition normally must be in the main README. So in the main README, if I go here, click in here, and I say all about trees, click on here. So where we add the project definition, you add the project definition here is the main README. What is the name of your project? All about trees. And here that's the simple project definition, a simple website about trees and some scientific interesting fact about them, for example. So where do we add the project definition? Where do we add the project definition? In the main README. That's first. And by the way, these steps are important. You need to do this step by step. It's not possible to do one step before the other because they are related. After I define my project here, project definition, what is my project about? Everyone in the team need to understand that. We should add it to the main README, as you can see. We need to define something called constraints. Can anyone tell me what are constraint or project constraints?
Constraints is about like a rule that we cannot like for example, the rule is we cannot put A or B.
Some rules, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think the project constraint is? Yeah, something like that. I was expecting more because I already asked you to watch the video before the class. Yeah, something like that. So the project constraint, it's some boundary around my project. What do I mean by that? Constraint, we have two types of constraint. We have external and we have internal. What do I mean by external? For example, your project here, you have a deadline, which is 1 week. You cannot take more. That's a constraint. So the constraint here, it will be the project, let's say the project deadline. It's just 1 week. For example, the money, the cost. If you are, not for you, of course, but if you are working in a company, maybe your boss will tell you, okay, for this project, I'm only spending 15,000 euro only. That's a constraint. Okay. So the constraint is something we cannot control. I need to put them into account. Most of the time there's the duration and the cost. For you, the cost doesn't matter because you are just learning. It will be mostly the duration, which will be 1 week. Is the idea clear? That's the external constraints. The internal constraint mostly they are related to the team. For example, the availability, not everyone is available. Someone is sick, someone cannot, he's absent for 1 or 2 days. For example, also maybe when you are working on a project, you are using a new programming language, let's say PHP, not everyone understand or know PHP well. So it will be different level in the team and so on. That's what we call internal constraint. Is the constraint is clear? Ernesto? Okay. Communication plan is quite simple. Is you need to like write, of course, for all of that, you have a template. So we'll show you how to do it. Now I'll show you after I finish. The communication plan is how you can communicate in the team. Are you going to use Slack or Zoom? Are you going to meet on site? How many hours you are available? 3 hours, 4 hours, each one. And are you going to use any technology to communicate between each other? That's simply the communication plan. So the communication plan is just for you as a team to decide, for example, the availability of the team, how many hours everyone is available, how you're going to communicate with each other. Are you going to use Zoom or Slack or any other technology, Teams, for example, and so on. How the team will communicate and how they will stay in touch. That's mean what technologies they are using to get in touch. After that, we have something called user personas. So what is user personas? Can anyone tell me what is user personas?
End user who gonna use the application.
Can you speak up a little bit?
End user who gonna use your application.
Very good. So what is user personas? Why you are looking at me? What is user personas? User personas are different category are interested in your website. What do I mean by that? If you build a website, let's say about medicine, for example, not everyone will be interested in medicine. Most probably the doctors will be interested in medicine, this website. Maybe pharmacians that will be interested in medicine. And maybe some guy who is, for example, sick and looking for some medicine, maybe he's be interested, but not everyone in the world will be interested in your website. So user persona are different category of people are interested in your website. Clear? Okay. Of course, we have this website here. I will share the link with you. If you click on it like that, you can, after that, write your user persona in very nice way. So you can add a picture, add some bio. I will teach you all of that now. And then after that, you can just take a picture and download it as SVG or something. And after that, add it to the project. Like that, you will create a nice user personas. Okay? Should be fine. Yeah. Maybe not too much. The backlog. What is the backlog?
Whatever the work we have to do,
Hmm?
the backlog of stories, whatever the work we have to do in future.
Yeah. So the backlog simply, let me just try to copy this one. And then I will explain to you what's the backlog. Okay, what's the website we have currently? If we go to, where was this one? I think it was in the template, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's not here. Maybe I can go to my project. Yeah. So that will be the website you will try to rebuild for this week. You already given the HTML and CSS, and your job, it will be to try to plan rebuilding this project. And don't understand it wrong. Coding most of the time is simple, it's easy. If you don't know how to code something, you can just Google it. Planning is the most difficult part in any project. Because when you plan, you don't know a lot of factors and you just put a plan. After that, when you come to implement them, not all the times they are working. You need to go to update your plan. After that, modify them. So planning always in any project is the most difficult part. So what are user stories? To build a website, you need to imagine yourself as a user. So I will come to my website here and I will try to divide it into different parts. But how can I do so? Well, if I come here and I see I have a title, right? So what I can say, for example, I can make the title as one user story. For example, I am not a developer, I'm a user. As a user, when I come to a website, this website, I want to see the title of the page. right? So I need to see the title here. So we will make this title as one user story. Second, what else do we have? We have logos here, one logo, two logo. I can also make another user story. I can say, as a user, I want to see logos here or website logos or two logos, for example. Then I will come here. I have a navigation bar, as you can see, intro, content, extras, this navigation bar. I can also make it another user story. So as you can see what I'm doing here, I'm dividing my website into smaller parts. I'll say, as a user, I want to see the navigation bar. Why? Why I want to see the navigation bar? Because I can navigate to different part of the website. Then after that, I can come here. Let's say here's some more information. Let's say, as a user, I want to see some more information. This part here, I will make it one user story. Then here I have more links. I can say, as a user, I want to see more links about trees. That's another user story. Here I have some extra information, extra link. As a user, I want to see some extra link about trees. And here at the end here, we have some media, social media links. As a user, I want to see some social media link belong to the website. So as you can see what I did here, I divided my website into smaller part to different user story. Each user story need to be developed, that's mean coded in different branch. So again, the title here need to be on one branch. The logo here need to be in another branch. This navigation bar, it will be in another branch. This description here, it will be another branch. This some link here, extra, some link here will be in another branch. Some extra link in another branch. And of course, the social media also in another branch. And like that, as you can see, each feature or each user story, we build it on a separate branch.
Is there any guidelines for this?
Sorry?
Is there any guidelines for the stories that I have to do only this thing in one story and this?
Is there?
Any guidelines?
Of course,
for the
of course.
stories that-
Yes, so you given some template. Now I'll show you the template here already.
No,
Don't
like
worry.
they split the work, like I have to do like only one part in one story.
Divide it.
It's come really, yes, Jalal.
Yeah, you could divide by the group that you are in.
Mhm.
So to divide, so development strategy.
Mhm.
On development strategy,
Mhm.
you assign every task to someone that's gonna do it. For example, the person that's gonna develop the logo
Mhm.
and the title, that should be assigned the
No,
job
means,
and at the same time.
My question is more like, I have to make two stories for title and logo, or I can make one story also.
So
for the
she
title.
asking here, how is there any guideline to divide my user website to different user story? Well, it comes from experience, really. So you will learn it little bit, but for now you are just starting. You need to make the smallest part, start with smallest part. But how you're gonna divide it really come with the experience. Okay. When I look at website, I can just divide it theoretically like that. Now it's not clear for you, but when you build a few projects after that for you, also it will be very clear how to divide your website. But don't worry, you will get there. So a user story again, a user story, it's just some part of the website. It's little part of the website. As I told you, when I build a website, I'm going to divide it into smaller part. Each smaller part here is a user story. Each user story needs to be developed on a branch, separate branch. Each user story could have one issue, 2, 3, 4, depending on the complexity of the user story. For example, here, if I take the title, how many issues do you think I need? So a user story with the title, how many issues do you think I need? It's simple question. Again, I have a user story, whatever user you pick. How many issues do you think I need? Why?
For one user story, one issue should be enough.
But now, now my website here has HTML and CSS. So how many issues do you think I need? 2. It's always better to separate the HTML and the CSS. Of course, it will be done by one person because that makes sense. As a guy who created this user story or this feature here, we call it future user story, does make sense. He builds the HTML and CSS, and if he needs JavaScript, also JavaScript, but he need to create separate issues. So one branch, but one branch can have many different issues.
Let's say if we're using multiple technologies, in this case for JavaScript, for Java.
Yes, the idea. So the simplest way dividing the issue is depending on the, let's say, the technology or the markup language we are using. We are using HTML, we have CSS also, so we can create 2 issues. Add title HTML or add title HTML, then add title CSS. And if I have any functionality in JavaScript, I could add more issue. It really depends how complex the user story is. Clear?
Creating different branches, like everyone can merge on the same branch.
Why we are creating different branches?
Means we are developing this, and
Mhm.
once we will merge it in the same branch, and then we can merge it to the main later on.
Yeah, but the idea here again, let's imagine we finish this part here. Okay, you work on this user story, Tarun work on this user story, Jalal work on this user story. We spend 1 week working on that. And another developer came here to build this user story, and he makes some mistake and he merged it directly like that. He put it on main, he didn't create a branch, he just merged it like that. So website will be break. That's mean my 1 week, I spend 1 week, you spend 1 week, Tarun spend 1 week working on that, and after that some guy breaks the code. I will not be happy, no one will be happy.
So like we can have one branch for one website, and then we can merge it to the main probably later.
No, they need to be separated.
Here is the best practice, because when you go to the company, you're gonna work with the 20 developers. Everyone uses branch that makes changes. And always the main is protected. So even if your code is break, the main one is will be effective.
You got the point, because like that, your code, it will be separated from your colleague. If your colleague, for example, make a mistake or you make a mistake, you have separate branches. The idea, branches are for free, by the way. You don't pay for them. So it's better to create them like that. If you make a mistake, maybe your branch didn't work, your code didn't work, you can just delete the branch and that's it. I think user story now are clear, if I am not mistaken. But something I need to mention, which is quite important, when it comes to backlog, of course, the backlog is just collection of user story. Now, in backlog, we have different type of user story. We have must have, should have, and could have. What do I mean by that? Must have, that means this future, we need them. We cannot launch the website if we don't have this user story. If I don't have a title and logo, I cannot just make my website ready. I need them. But if I have more time, I can add more improvement. And this improvement, I can add this user story and should have. If I have more time, I can even add more future. I can add it to could have. So the most important user story is there must be must have. The less important there should be should have, and the less important should be could have. Is the idea clear? Okay, after that we have design. When we write all our user story, we'll start to design our website. To design our website, of course, we are using a simple website here, which is called Xcali Draw. All you have to do, just design a simple sketch. Let's say that's my website. And I'm gonna create a title here. I'm gonna just write like that, and I can just write title if I want to, something like that. I make it very quick. Voila, I need to center it. That should be fine. And after that, let's say I need to add 2 logos, so I can just use this one, create this one like that logo, and create this one like that another logo. So that's simple sketch for our website. That's what we call design. Okay, clear? Good. After I write my backlog and I write my design, now I need to come to something called development strategy. And development strategy, you need to be careful here. We build the development strategy depending on the design and the backlog. You cannot have a development strategy for a user story which it does not exist. For example, you did not mention in your backlog that you need a title, and after that I see in your development strategy you have a title. It doesn't make sense. All these 3 are connected. So if I have something in the backlog user story, it must be included in the design. It must be included in development strategy. Is the idea clear? And of course, in the development strategy, we only add must-have user story. Only must-have. For now, when you finish them, then you can add could have and should have. Clear? Development strategy, then you need to develop, that means you need to write code. And after that, we have something called retrospective. Retrospective, you will do it at the end of the project when you finish. So when you finish, you already have a plan, right? You have development strategy. And what you're doing in the retrospective, it's just to learn from my mistake. For example, when I started building the project, I thought maybe I can use, I was discussing with my teammate, let's try to use PHP for this project, for example. At the end of the project, we'll see, okay, maybe it was not a good idea to use PHP. So it's kind of, we are learning from our mistake. Okay, we are comparing what was our plan in the beginning of the project and the end of the project, and we are trying to learn from our mistake. All the time, the retrospective must be done at the end of the project. Clear? Let me show you some example, and after that, I'll divide you into groups. I've already take 1 hour. Wow. Okay, let me go here. So first, the project definition. Of course, I create a repo all about trees, simple website about trees, and some interesting scientific fact about them. That's the project definition. After that, when I come to the planning part here, I click on the planning, and first I need to define what? What was the second step after the project definition? What was the second step after the project definition? Constraints. So I'm going to constraints here. And in constraints, as you can see, I have two. I have external and internal. External here is my project deadline. It will be 1 week. Internal here is team availability. That means not everyone is a team. They have the same amount of hours. Simple. Okay. After I define the constraint, what do I need to define? Communication plan. The order does matter, I told you. So the communication plan is like that. Monday, we will have a Zoom. We will do the project planning, for example. Tuesday, we have a Zoom and we will work on the issue and so on. So that's your planning. That's how you communicate between each other. You have the template already. And after that, the availability of the team. For example, I have Samir. He's on Monday, he has 3 hours. On Tuesday, he has 6 hours. After that, I have Jack, for example. He's available 5 hours and so on. You have the template. You just need to fill out this information here, here, and here. Clear? Any problem here? Okay, that's the communication plan. If you are working in individual project, you don't have communication plan because the communication plan to communicate between the team. If the project is individual, you don't need it. Clear? After the communication plan, what will be the next step?
User persona.
User persona. So let's go to user persona. And for user persona, as you can see, we have a template here. You need to use the same template, of course, just like I am doing here. My website was about trees here. And here I've picked two user persona, intermediate school student. Okay. Why this intermediate school student will come to my website? I have a bio. I say, for example, Lara. She is an intermediate school student. Why? What's the goal? Why she need to come to my website? Well, Lara need to write a report about trees for her biology class. So I need to be a logic. I need to find a reason. Okay, forestation. Why she will come to my website, not to other websites? We have 100 other websites about trees. Well, I will say most of the websites about trees are complex for her. My website is simpler. So I need to provide a logical reason. And after that scenario, it's just like I'm summarizing the need and the frustration. Lara is an intermediate school student. She needs to write a report about her biology class. That's the first user persona. The second user persona I choose is the garden owner. Well, Mike, he's a garden owner who loves green, loves trees. Why Mike needs or goal? Why Mike will come into my website? Well, Mike is trying to search for more information about trees and planet or plants. So he will be able to provide more care for his trees, for example. Forestation. Mike cannot find a website which provide a user-friendly information. So all the other websites are super complex for him. Most websites are too scientific and non-practical for him. Okay, what's the scenario? Mike is garden owner who try to find more information to be able to keep his plant, for example, healthy. For example, that's two different user story I plant. You can come up with more, but here's the reason you find it must be logical reason. For example, not tell me some guy is, for example, he's from Mars. What is need? He just come to Earth to see my website. It doesn't make sense. Okay, this user story must make sense. So it must be logical. An intermediate school student, he need to write a report. He really interested in the website. The guy who has a garden, he's really interested in my website. But for example, you tell me a doctor, he's coming to this website. Why? Because he want to take care of a patient. That doesn't make sense. Okay. After that, when I define the user persona, I need to go to the design. So backlog first, sorry. In the backlog, we have, as you can see, we have this template here. And as I divided my website to title, logo, navigation link, as you can see, everything is divided like that. As a user, I want to see the title of the page. And here, that's what we call accepting criteria. That means when this user story, it will be accepted. Well, when I have a title, at the top of the page. So you need to add this part here, which is what we call accepting criteria, which means this user story, it will be valid, it will be correct when I have a clear title of the page. So that's the reason why I'm saying there is a title of the top of the page. That means I finish this user story. Same idea, as a user, I want to see the logo of the happy trees. There are two logos for the page. As a user, I want to see the navigation link. Why? Because I can search easily of different part of the website. There is a navigation under the title. As a user, I want to see the description of the page. There is a description of the page, and so on and so on and so on. That's the backlog. Then I will come to the design, and remember, everything in the backlog, it must be in the design. It doesn't make sense. I mentioned something in the backlog does not exist in the design. Design is a very simple design. As you can see, I have title, I have navigation bar, I have introduction, I have some main info with link. I have here extra information, and here I also have another navigation or social media link. So the design also must reflect the backlog. After that, the development strategy. I will come to my development strategy, which is the most interesting one. In development strategy, I will mention all about trees, the subject or the title of my website. Step zero, I need to set up the repo. What did I do to set up the repo? Well, I created a new repo from the template. It's just what logical or what's the step you did. Well, I created a repo from this template. I add collaborator, I turn on Ghetto pages, and I give them right access. I protect my master or main branch. There is no difference between the two. After that, I will come to the first user story. What was the first user story? Title. I will say here, I will mention the same thing I add in the backlog. As a user, I want to see the title of the page. And I need to mention this user story develop on which branch, because each user story must be in a different branch. In branch 9, something like that. This branch is merged to master or main after I completed it. And here, for this user story, I have two issues. The first issue is HTML, and second one is CSS. What did I do in the HTML? Well, I add a header tag. I add H1 for the title of the page. What did I do in CSS? Well, I add a class center item for the header. I make the display flex and add it to and add padding. So as you can see, what I'm doing in each feature, I'm dividing it into issue, HTML and CSS, and I'm just writing the logical step I did, simply like that. And I need to do that for everyone. Voila, 3, 4, description. Of course, all of those are user story, huh? Doesn't make sense if I don't have extra link user story in the backlog on the design and have it in, it doesn't make sense. If I have it in the backlog, that means I need to have it in the design, I need to have it in development strategy. Only the must-have user story. And voila. After that, I need to write, what else did I forget? Backlog we did, communication we did, constraint, design, everything retrospective, user persona. Wireframe is the same as design. Retrospective here, you have a template. I didn't do it. Of course, you need to add it at the end of the project when you finish. What should you as a team stop doing? For example, stop thinking too much, stop implementing too much ideas, for example. What we should continue doing? We should continue, for example, communicating and helping each other. For example, what we should start doing? We should start planning correctly, for example, or more specific, let's say. Listen, what did you learn from this project? You need to mention all this stuff, and that's it. And that's simply what is planned. Of course, now if I click on this one, and I go to my branches, let's go to branches actually. As you can see, I have 15 different branches. I go down, I have definition, project definition in one branch, communication in one branch, constraint in one branch, personas, user personas in one branch, backlog in one branch, design in one branch, development strategy in one. After that, when I come to the user stories, title on one branch, and I have two issues related to it. One issue, it will be HTML, one issue, it will be CSS. And be careful, here you will not add all the HTML, you only add the HTML belong to the title only, and CSS belong to the title. When you come to the logo, another branch, you will add the HTML and CSS belong to the logo only. Same navigation and so on and so on. Of course, you may have a conflict because you are working on the same HTML file. When you have a conflict, you need to resolve it, all of you together. Is the idea clear? That's that's agile development simply. And now we can 1 hour. Okay, that's fine. And now I want group 1, 2, 3, 4 on different tables. each group on one table. And for each group, you will have a coach with you and you can start doing this all about trees. So I want group, whatever group you want, one group here, one group here, one group here, one group here. It's the same group. Let me see, Brussels. So group one, we have Kevin, we have Paulina, we have Tarun, we have Yuri on one table. Group two, we have Alan, we have Palafi, we have Stephen, we have Videsh on one table. Group three, we have Ernesto, we have Glorious, we have John, we have Vaula on one table. And the other group, which will be Any, Jimish, Hamad, and Smita on one table. Let me stop recording.